Amanda from Pontes Books here with our Chapter 13 Historical Tidbit for the Prince and the Pauper. And not gonna lie, this chapter kind of made it difficult to find a historical tidbit. A lot of this chapter is just Edward and Miles at his place, and Edward's fixing up some clothes while he's sleeping, and then he wakes up and surprise, he's been kidnapped. So there wasn't a whole lot of history in here. So I kind of dove into one part that I was curious about while I was reading, and that is the song that Miles is singing. So in the kind of middle of the chapter, while he's working on fixing up this outfit that he's gotten for Edward and he's so excited, he kind of flips back and forth into this song and sings a few lyrics from it. And I was just curious, like, what is this song? Did Mark Twain make it up? Is it a real song? So that's what we're diving into today, is Miles's song, and a little bit of the history of it, although I'll tell you there's not a lot of information on it. Okay, so the reference in The Prince and the Pauper. So it's kind of confusing because he'll be singing the song and then he's talking to himself while he's doing this. So she loved her husband dearly, but another man. That's part of the song. And then this is just his own comment about what he's doing. These be noble, large stitches, holding the garment up and viewing it admiringly. They have a grandeur and a majesty that do cause these small stingy ones of the tailor man to look mightily paltry and plebeian. And then back to the song. She loved her husband dearly, but another man he loved she. And I just kind of like made up my own melody. I don't know what the melody was, and that doesn't really match the melody of the modern day versions of it, or modern-ish day. So that quote is on page 72. There's a little bit more in different parts where he kind of goes back to those same lines. But so like I said, I wanted to see about this song. So what I could find, it's a traditional folk song, and it's not exactly PG, so it's the song about a wife's attempted murder of her husband. And in the kind of more modern variations, I guess you could see it kind of goes a little wrong for her. It is of unknown origins and it has multiple variations. So there are a lot of different varieties that kind of have that same intro part. So sometimes it's called Eggs and Marrowbone. There was an old woman, the old woman from Boston, the rich old lady, and more. So there's lots of different variations that kind of all stem back to this original folk song. So that's pretty much all I know for like kind of the background, the history of it. But I did find a version to actually play, I guess you could say. So this is a modern-ish song variation of it. So in comparison, this is a lot more modern. And it's a version that was recorded by Richard Dyer Bennett. And this one's an Eggs and Marrowbone one. And he actually gives a little introduction in the song, which is nice to have that background in there. And this was recorded in 1945. So again, that's not really modern, but if you compare it to the time of The Prince and the Pauper, it's extremely modern. So again, just a warning, it's not exactly PG. So depending on who's watching this or who you're showing it for, just know that it's not anything too graphic or anything like that, but it does involve some attempted murder, you know, for lack of a way of saying it more gracefully. Okay, let's take a listen.
Here's a song that is apparently based on a folk superstition that if you feed someone a mixture of marrow and eggs, perhaps eggshell, you can make them go blind. There was an old woman in our town did well. She loved her husband dearly, but another man twice as well. So she went down to the doctor to see what she could find, sir, to make her old man blind. Oh, feed him eggs and marrowbone, feed them to him all. That will make him so darn blind he can't see you at all. So she fed him eggs and marrowbone, fed them to him all, and that did make him so darn blind he couldn't see her at all. Oh, now I'm getting old and I'm tired here go my knife. So I'll go down to the river's edge, and that will end my strife. To drown yourself, said she, oh, that would be a sin. So I'll go down to the river's edge and kindly shove you in. So the old woman took a running jump for to shove her old man in. But the old man, he stepped to one side, and the old woman, she fell in. She yelled for help, screamed for help, loudly she did all. The old man said, I'm so darn blind, he can't see you at all. So she swam along till she came to the river's brim. The old man, he got a great long pole and shoved her in. So now the old woman is dead and gone, and the devil has got her soul. And wasn't she a darned old fool that she didn't grab that pole? Eggs, and marrow-bone will make your old man blind. But if you want her to do him in, creep up from behind.
So that's Eggs and Marrowbone. So again, it's kind of about this wife who is kind of in love with somebody else. So she doesn't want to be with her husband anymore. So she feeds him this combination of eggs and marrowbone. And then she's going to try and push him into the river, but he steps out of the way and she falls in instead and ends up drowning. So I don't know that that's the exact same version that would have been sung in the time of, you know, Mark Twain while he was writing this, or in the time of Edward and Miles. But it was just an interesting little tidbit, I thought. So hopefully you learned something. Have a good rest of your day.